Welcome to yet again another episode of Transform Perspective with yours truly, Kyra Witherspoon. I don't know what that was. It was given like a Bridgerton or like a little British accent. I used to be really good at that when I was younger, but I'm not even going to do accents anymore because it will come off very offensive. So we're not going to do that. But I used to watch a lot of X Factor UK. That was my show. That was my show. But yeah, I used to watch a lot of that. And so then I would like mimic the accents and stuff and go to school. And it's a long story. I'm not going to get carried away. But thank you for joining me again, or for the first time if you're new to Transform Perspective. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, share, and all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. But today, I definitely want to get into priorities. That is a big thing for me. And I want to recognize that I am here again for another episode. Consistency is key. And I've always been pretty consistent for the most part, especially when it comes to things that I really care about, like Transform Perspective. But we all have our moments, we have our moments where we kind of slack and we stop doing the things that we enjoy or that we like or that are beneficial in some type of way. But they're really important. And I notice that in my life, when I don't have my priorities straight, like within myself, I'm not doing the things that are healthy, that I enjoy, that allow me to be productive and learn and grow. It's a long list of things that I do, and I'll get into in a bit. But when I stop doing those things, I definitely notice a difference within myself and in my life. Recently, I've been pretty good with priorities, but I had a moment like a couple months ago where, life happens and a lot of things have changed in my life that contribute to that, but I also have to hold myself accountable and say, hey, like, even though things get a little different, things change, things get hard sometimes, you don't want to stop filling up your cup and making sure you're prioritizing you. And that was kind of where the priority was like lacking, was prioritizing myself and my well-being, instead of kind of getting drowned in your circumstances or your thoughts and, all that. So yeah, it was a mess, but I got myself back on the track of, the healthy habits and doing the things that are healthy and beneficial for me. And that looks different for everybody. But like, for example, I noticed that I was scrolling a lot more on my phone, watching TV and movies more, which there's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, a good movie, a good TV show, or just being on your phone sometimes is fine. But it was kind of excessive at times. And then I would go about my day. I would go to work or hang out with friends and do certain things and notice that I'm more irritated or I'm more anxious or I'm less focused. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, what did I do? Like, what's happening? Um, and I realized, oh my goodness, I need to get my priorities straight. Like, I need to make sure that I'm continuing to do the things that have benefited me or helped me grow or, are very healing and nurturing. And I was lacking. I was caught lacking, slacking, um, within myself, I had to pause for a moment really quick because the sun was going down, of course, perfect time. But I went ahead and got the ring light. You probably can see if you're watching the video because it's reflecting my glasses. Love that. Not really. But yeah, anyways, like I said, I wasn't really prioritizing the things that I used to. And I started to notice a change. It started off very subtle and I didn't realize it. It just hit me and I was like, man, it's my priorities. The things I was doing before that was really helping me, I started to either stop them completely or dang, I started to stop them completely or I was just kind of like doing it occasionally. For example, scrolling more on the phone, watching TV more, not getting out in nature, not reading my books as much because I really enjoy reading in my spare time. And that's something that, especially since I got out of school, I noticed that I always enjoy reading. It's just I enjoy reading the books that I want to read, not the books that I have to. So reading my books and stuff, journaling, like I said, did I already say go outside in nature? Walking my dog. I used to like to, read in nature. Something that I have been doing now that I stopped doing was each month, especially around the new moon, starting something new. And so I've tried like doing a pescatarian diet for 30 days, doing a cold shower once a day for 30 days, um, doing my shadow work each day, answering a question and kind of digging deep, doing a yoga challenge or something at the gym. So just doing these different things that really helped me and making it a healthy habit. I noticed that I stopped doing that. There was nothing new that I was taking on. Sometimes it can get exhausting to do something new all the time. You know, you don't want to overwhelm yourself, but you can tell the difference in what you typically do, what's helping you, and what's not. And me not prioritizing these things that were helping me and myself was definitely getting in the way. Um, and it would start out very small, like just my level of patience, just usually with certain things, I'm more patient, like with my loved ones, families, friends, or when I'm at work, but my patience was wearing thin. Or I wasn't focused, you know, I was all over the place and I couldn't get things done. I was more anxious and worried and kind of couldn't sit still. And it was just a lot of old habits that I thought I like dropped off and, you know, they wouldn't come back up. They were coming up again. And I was like, why is this? The dang priorities. Um, and so yeah, I slowly but surely started working it back into my day-to-day life because what I was doing was when I started a new habit, like when I replaced an old habit with a new one and a healthier one for me, um, it became more like permanent. It wasn't just for the 30 days. It wasn't just to try it out. It became something that I was doing consistently for most of the things that I was trying out. And so to see in my day to day life that I just kind of like dropped it off and wasn't doing it. Like, for example, I used to make sure that I meditated for an hour each day. That really helped me and was changing my life. And so to drop that off, I noticed that I wasn't as present, you know, I didn't feel grounded and connected like I usually do. I was lacking in like patience. I was getting irritated and worried. And I'm just like, what is it? You stop doing your meditation. Like I wasn't even doing 20 minutes, you know, 5 minutes at that. I was making meditations, but I wasn't doing the meditating. So I knew something was off then. Um, and of course, at first, I kind of beat myself up about it, but I'm like, okay, that did not help. You beating yourself up about it doesn't change it. And then I actually started to incorporate the things that I was doing slowly but surely. And it happens. You don't have to beat yourself up about it because you're learning, you're growing, as I always say. That applies to everybody. And beating yourself up actually slows things down and is also like a part of your trauma patterns or whatever else because you don't you don't have to do it. You don't, and you do sometimes, and that's okay. But sometimes it gets in the way of you actually just doing the thing that you're beating yourself up about. And I noticed that. But yeah, I started to incorporate meditation again and reading my books and getting new books and writing more and cold showers here and there. And eating better and breath work and just all these things that was really working for me. I was like, I cannot just like drop them off. It may happen sometimes, but now I'm kind of more aware of it a lot quicker than I was before because this went on for like 2 months, 3 months. It was a while. It was a while where I just stopped doing the things that I used to do. But then I noticed a change and I was like, I do not like this. Um, and that does prove that those things that I was doing was really helping me. It was really helping me internally and in my life. Journaling, writing, the cold showers, the breath work, um, the yoga, the reading my word, the getting out in nature, the, you know, just doing those things that I probably would have never saw myself doing. Like, if we're being honest, like in the past, like I always have made sure I had my priorities, you know, in check for the most part and did those things that I really enjoy. But some of the things are new. Um, like the meditation and the way that I was doing it for an hour in silence, life changing. Before I would maybe do like a video or something, which was helpful, but I was doing things in a new way. You know, before I would read all the time, but it usually had to do with school or assignment. It wasn't for fun or going out in nature. I always like to go for a walk and go to the park and stuff. But now I'm reading in nature or taking my dog with me or spending time with family in nature. And so I was kind of doing it different and also trying new things. And it was working for me. But then I stopped and now I'm continuing. And it made me realize that it is okay sometimes for you to kind of lose sight of that. But then you also have to, when you become aware of it, recognize it and return to that place and space, that place, dang it, that place and space that you were in. I really like saying place and space when I'm talking. But return to that place and space that you were in and, you know, prioritize those things that you were doing, those people that you were hanging around, those circumstances and situations that you put yourself in to grow, to learn, to heal. And that just make you feel good. It does not always feel good though. Let me tell you, those cold showers did not feel good. you know, um, going outside in nature, that felt good, but like certain things like meditating and sitting still with your thoughts and emotions instead of just watching a good movie or scrolling on social media, it is uncomfortable at first. But when you're looking at it in a perspective of it being like long term and down the line, it does make a difference in your life, but it may not be instant gratification. And I feel like that's what I was saying with the phone and scrolling or movies or eating junk food. Like you get this instant gratification that, oh, this feels good to me. But if you keep doing it or you look at it in, the future and a distance, like what will that do to your mind, your body, and your spirit? You know, it may feel good now, but is it going to feel good later? If you keep eating them hot Cheetos, which, oh, I love hot chips. And that's something that I rarely eat now. I went like 6 months without eating hot chips. And I was like, I never thought I could do that because, especially when I was in school and younger, I used to eat them more often, especially as a kid. Because when somebody brings a bag of Takis or hot Cheetos, and they would bring the big bag, I mean like the family size, share a bag, and they'll be eating them in the morning. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I was never allowed to do that, but let me have a chip or two. And so, I think I got carried away in hot chips. But it doesn't always feel comfortable when you're trying something new or prioritizing yourself and your well-being. It doesn't always feel good. But if you're looking at it in a long-term way, it is helping you. It is helping you evolve, transform, grow, heal. These are things that you're naturally going to do anyways, but you might as well help yourself, especially if you're aware of it. I could see if you aren't aware of it. Like I wasn't at first. I wasn't aware that I didn't have my priorities straight. But then once I realized that, I was like, okay, now it's time to take action and, get my head back in the game. Like, let's go. And that's okay. It happens. But definitely once you become aware of it, you want to take action and do those steps. And it takes time to kind of ease your way back into it. It doesn't always feel comfortable. I have to say that because sometimes we think, oh, if it feels good, then that's right. No, it does feel good, but sometimes it doesn't. And that's okay because you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions or you're going to be put in uncomfortable positions anyways that will help you grow. There's like a quote or something about like adding pressure. Oh, the diamond metaphor where, you add pressure or whatever and turn into a diamond. I don't know if that's how it goes, but yeah. So I'm so glad that I realized that. And if you lose sight of your priorities within yourself or in your life, sometimes this happens with friends, family, this happens with work. It can happen in many different ways, but if you find that happening in your life, in your circumstances, your job, your relationships, it's okay. But if you see it, take action. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it helps to write. And I think that's actually when I realized it, when I was journaling and writing down like kind of what I did in my day. And I was like, dang, this is a little different from what I usually do. I feel like the only thing that I was consistent with at the time was the gym. The gym is something that I really do enjoy, and I have, but that was pretty much the only thing that I was being consistent with was the gym and my YouTube videos, But then I even had a time where I was kind of slacking in those areas too, with the gym, with the videos. You can overwhelm yourself, but it's just all about finding that balance and finding what works for you, not to you, works for you, and sticking with that. And then if that doesn't serve you, or you're kind of getting tired of it, you change it up a bit and do something different. But you kind of just got to adjust and figure out what works best for you, what order you want to put your priorities in. But I'm learning to do so and have priorities that are aligned with is what, dang, I cannot say it. I'm reading off of something, obviously, but I wrote here on a sticky note. I'll just expose myself. I am reading off of a sticky note, and this is what I put. This is what I wrote down when I realized. I said, make sure your priorities are aligned with what's best and highest for you. And I also put a side note, my connection with God, within myself, and making sure that I'm prioritizing that. Because that for me was, the meditation, the journaling, the working out, the taking a nice bath, the reading my books, the dancing and stillness, and hanging out with people that I love and enjoy to hang out with, eating foods that make me feel good and not bloated and tired, or that gives me a headache. So, changing my diet and, making these changes and prioritizing these things that are good for my mind, body, and spirit. They may not always feel good at first, like I said, but over time, there is some growth, some change, some benefits working. We don't always see it, and you don't always get instant gratification when it comes to those things that are really good for you, really beneficial for your mind, body, and spirit. You're not always going to see it all the time, but that doesn't mean that it's not working, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't prioritize it. But yeah, I felt like my biggest thing was presence and sitting still. That was really helping me to just be still, to observe my thoughts, my emotions, the feelings of my body, and just really connect within myself, connect with God, and find these different ways that I can do that and return to being grounded. When I stopped that, it was like everything kind of went chaotic internally in my mind because I was so anxious and all over the place, but then also in my life, in my surroundings, where it was just things happening left and right. And I'm just like, you have to be kidding me. Like, even the smallest things. But yeah. So yeah. And there's so many things you can do, but you do have to find what works best for you. And I talk about this even on Transform Perspective with my journaling videos and my tips and tricks and things that you can incorporate in your day-to-day life, because it is truly important. And also, if you want to check out any of those videos, they are still posted and up. So please do. If you need any help with ideas of things that you want to do to help you, but you don't know where to start, you're like, oh my goodness, you're in that situation where you're anxious and you're not really utilizing your time in a way that you want to, but you don't know what to replace it with. I have plenty of videos on healthier habits or outlets and things of that sort. And I will continue to share that, because what helps me can also help other people. So I feel like, why not share it with others? But yeah, make sure you have your priorities in line. And if you don't, and you're not aware of it, it's okay. It happens. But as soon as you become aware of it, take action and make sure that you are taking care of yourself, because it is so important. And this could be within yourself, in your life. It looks different for everybody. But sometimes you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. I don't know who came up with that saying or that quote, but it's true. It really is true. But yes, thank you for tuning in to Transform Perspective. Remember to make sure your priorities are right. Make sure you put yourself first, and that you are just taking care of you, because you cannot take care of anybody else or help anybody else or even really be beneficial in any way if you're not being beneficial and helping yourself first. That is so true. But yeah, remember that it is not about perfection, but committing to expansion. That is not a cat. That is my sister. So if you heard that meow, just ignore it. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. And that is my cue to head on out. Have a transformed perspective.